One, Ryan Archer, West Ham Fan TV, live and uncut. As you can see, Nicky's not here tonight, so he's left me in charge. Big mistake. But I've roped in an old pal of mine from Hammers Chat, Gio. You see the title. It is Mark Noble, a West Ham legend. So, as I said to Gio off air, unless I get Mark Noble's mum and dad, I've probably got the next best person to talk about Mark Noble. So, Gio, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. You said Nicky's sick as well, getting the fallen one on from I was joking, and I'm looking forward to talking about.
Yeah, you got to love him. Me and you both love Mark Noble. I mean, he was back in the squad on Saturday. Captain returns, and he scored after 2 or 3 minutes. So he was a massive influence on that team, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think his penalties it's significant, but it's sort of like the least of what he does on the pitch, if you like. When Watford scored, I actually think he had a bigger impact when Watford scored than when he scored the pen. I know it sounds strange because he scored a goal, but when Watford scored, you could see him screaming at players, saying, "You're not doing this, you're not doing that, why aren't you doing this?" And there was a couple of people at the game that commented on our review and stuff about how we had a corner at one point. He just marched into the box and pointed to everybody one by one and pointed to where they're all meant to be, and they were organised within seconds. And you think that's the type of stuff you don't see on the television, do you? Because when it's a corner, it's zoomed in on the guy who would take the corner, or it's showing you the shot that's just been tipped around the post and stuff. So you don't necessarily see his leadership all the time. And I actually think if we didn't have Noble on the pitch on Saturday, I'm not convinced we would have won. And it's not because of his penalty goal, it's because of the organisation, the leadership. And we had a little bit of bollocks about us on Saturday that I felt we were lacking, especially in the first half against Brighton. I thought they bullied us. Watford are a physical team, and there was none of that. We matched them physically on Saturday, which is quite different for West Ham.
Yeah, this is what we said on the sort of post-match pint in for the Brighton game. That in the first 2 games, now I'm not saying Mark Noble would have made a massive difference against Man City. We could have had Messi and Ronaldo. It probably wouldn't have made much difference, but we was lacking a lot of leadership in that team. And as you said, especially against Brighton, we was getting bullied in the midfield, and we relied too much on Declan Rice to do that. So Mark Noble, and it shows sort of he's been out for a few weeks now, including pre-season, and he come back and he played a full 90 minutes. He put in a man-of-the-match performance for me, a proper captain's performance. As you said, a lot what you don't see on the telly, sometimes you see him bollocking our back four when they make a mistake, and that's what we've missed. We've missed it in the first 2 games. Yeah,
definitely. I think he's one of those players that you don't appreciate until he's not there, if you like. I was a bit surprised he started against Watford. Actually, I thought he might have been on the bench, and then during the second half, I thought, oh, he's going to have to come off soon. What we're going to do when Noble has to go off? So I was surprised he played all 90 minutes, and I'm glad we did. He's flavour of the month on social media just now. Everybody's bigging him up. He's had his 15-year anniversary. He's had a good performance and stuff, but it'll all change, unfortunately, when he puts in 1 or 2 bad games. I think the swing will change by the legs have gone, the fact he's 32, all that will come back out again, asking why we never replaced him in the summer. And the thing is, we sort of we thought Jack Wilshere would sort of knock him out of the team a little bit, and actually Jack's had a couple of games to take his chance, not taking it. Mark Noble's gone in there and shown Jack Wilshere what he should be doing when he's in the starting 11. So it goes to show that it's not that easy to replace Mark Noble.
Yeah, I said the same thing, mate. I mean, with Mark Noble, he shows how important he is for not only the first team, but just the club on and off the pitch. And it comes to the sort of question of the title: is Mark Noble a West Ham legend? And there'll be some people out there that will say no, a legend's only someone that's won trophies and things like that. But for me, as you know, 15 years, made his debut as a 17-year-old, Southend in the League Cup. I was there that night. I remember the whispers around the club about we've got this player coming through, Mark Noble, and he made his debut that night, and he hasn't looked back since. And he's been there through the ups, the downs. You know, people say, "Oh, but no one's ever come in for him." We don't know that. There was rumours a few years ago that someone like Fulham wanted him when they was in the Premier League a few years ago. So look, but with Mark Noble, for me, he is a West Ham legend. He's a boy that's lived his dream. He grew up in Canning Town. Literally, he lived about 2 streets away from me. I didn't know him personally. If I did, I would have been his best mate. I'd be getting free tickets now. But But yeah, it's nice to see a local lad. You support your club. You go on to not only play for your club, but he's the record appearance holder in the Premier League. 350 appearances for West Ham. Over 460 odd games now for the club. You know, he's probably not going to take over the record appearances that Billy Bonds has got, because there's probably not that many games left in Mark Noble. But he's going to go down as a West Ham legend for me. And you know, he'll always be our last ever captain at the Boleyn, so he's always going to be in our history as well.
Yeah, I think a legend's very subjective. I think a lot of people consider a player a legend. Someone else can not consider a player a legend. Doesn't mean one of you is wrong. You can both be correct. A legend's subjective, and I agree. He is a West Ham legend, but we never really went through the era of Buchan and Bonds and stuff. So the people that have seen Buchan and Bonds, I can kind of understand why they would say, hang on about a minute, Noble's nowhere near this quality. So we never got to see them live. So I think me and you are maybe to Noble's advantage as a legend, if you like, because we've never seen those players live. But even if I had, I still think I would have consider him a legend. I don't think it's about lifting trophies. I think it's harsh. You know, if someone's played 18 years for a League One football club and they've never got promoted, does that mean he's not a legend for that club? Of course not. Of course he is. It's about what you give to the club. It's about being committed. And you said about how no one's coming for Noble. The Fulham one, I believe, I think it was Hodgson when he was at Fulham. I think he came in for him. But I remember Alex Ferguson saying about how nobody ever bid for Paul Scholes. And it doesn't mean Paul Scholes is a bad player, just that nobody went near him because you thought, well, that's Mr. Man United. You just don't get Paul Scholes. And it's a bit like that with Mark Noble. He just fits West Ham.
Matt Powell there has just said Mark Noble is Mr. West Ham, and you just summed it up there. He is Mr. West Ham. He's a DNA of the club, and he's living the fans' dream. You know, we'd all love to pull on that shirt and play for West Ham, but he is unbelievable. I hate it when people sit around me and they sort of slate Mark Noble. I mean, I had someone who sits behind me that was backing Arnautovic, even when Arnautovic was refusing to play and wanted to leave the club. But then he was slating Mark Noble, and I'm like, come on, mate. You know, you got to. Mark Noble's an easy target. Maybe it's because he wears a captain's armband as well, because it happened to Kevin Nolan, and you go back before that, it happened to Nigel Reo-Coker, and you go on and on. It seems like they always sort of pick on the captains, but for me, look, Mark Noble, he will never ever go. He will never play for another club. I think he'd rather retire than go and play for another club. And he'll be in the first team for how many managers has he had since he broke into that first team? You know, he's probably had about 8 or 9, and they've always
there.
They've always picked him. They've always started him, and you know as I said, Pellegrini rates him still, and maybe the thing is as well with Jack Wilshere coming in. And he knows he's got competition now. He knows there's a fully fit squad there. Maybe he didn't expect to be in the starting lineup, but he was, and he made the difference for me.
I don't think he wants to be in the starting lineup. At the end of last season, he did a call-in or an interview, and I thought it was quite telling. Mark Noble himself said, we need to get younger legs in this transfer window coming up. And Mark Noble himself is saying, we need to get younger players in. I almost take that as a sort of message from Mark Noble to say, hang on a minute, I'm getting a bit old now. I can't play every single game. I think Mark Noble's almost suggesting that he needs to be replaced. And that's the character of the boy. It's unselfish from Noble. A lot of players will say, hang on a minute, I play. You don't go get someone in my position. Mark Noble's almost saying, get someone in that's better than me. Play them. I'll happily sit on the bench if it's the best thing for the football club. And the thing is, Noble is in the team, not because he's from around the corner, not because he played at Upton Park, not because he's been there for 15 years. Mark Noble's in the team on merit because he's good enough and he deserves to start. It should be our aim next summer. It should be West Ham's aim to get someone in that's better than Mark Noble. Mark Noble has to take his place on the bench next season. That has to be our aim, because that should be our aim whenever you're going to transfer. When you've always got to improve the first 11, then the guy in the first 11 becomes your bench player, and the guy on the bench essentially gets sold. And I think that's what we're going to do with Noble. And it's not a bad thing. It's just because it's just progression. It's just evolution of the starting team. And it'll be tell you what, Ryan, I'm going to have a tear in my eye when I attend Mark Noble's last ever game for West Ham.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too.
It'll be a sad day.
Jack J. Hammer there, Noble screaming at the attackers to come back and help defend just before Watford scored their goal. Just what we've been missing. That's what me and you was talking about earlier. It is 100%. Just quickly, I'm going to bring this one up, mate, because I knew it 10 minutes in, I knew this weren't going to take long. The dead pixel has moved to Ryan. But look, as you all know, Nicky's away. Nicky's in Mexico. So he's dropped his stuff off to me, and we can't get rid of this dead pixel. It's not that bad. Nicky usually has it sort of in his face, doesn't he? Like about there. But so maybe I might put a black poster up behind me so it emerges in. Yeah, so, but yeah, as you said, Mark Noble, yeah, look, his last game, I was at his testimonial, and that was an unbelievable day. You know, the fans turned out for him. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very sad day, mate. I think he will be a sort of dying breed. I don't think you'll see another player like Mark Noble play 15 years for this club. As much as I love Declan Rice and I want Declan Rice to stay here for his career, I can't see Declan Rice staying here for his career. It's the way football is at now. Unless West Ham get taken over by billionaire owners and they're chucking money at, we're not going to afford to turn down big offers from these big clubs for players like Declan Rice. So I think Mark Noble is definitely a dying breed. And I think these haters will appreciate him more, unfortunately, when he is retired.
Yeah, but I think that's like a lot of players to an extent, isn't it? Watching Man City yesterday, you know, and David Silva's leaving Man City at the end of this season. You thought, well, you know, everyone knows he's a good player, but do we know what a world-class player David Silva is? Probably not until he goes. It'll be like Vincent Kompany when he left City, and it'll be a bit like for that. It'll be a bit like that with Noble. But I think he'll hang about the club. I watched your post-match pint. You were saying like he should probably be a coach or something at the football team. I think that's the correct thing. But also, what to emphasise Mark Noble for me is over the years, especially the last 2 or 3 years, when we're spending big money. We're bringing in big characters to this football club. Sebastian Allaire, Issa Diop was captain of the Toulouse under-21s and stuff. But Marko Anavic with his ego and stuff. But Mark Noble, bar Anavic, and you know something, I will actually include Dimitri Payet in this. I think Mark Noble did this with Payet. Mark Noble keeps them all in check. Mark Noble, despite who they are when they come to West Ham. Listen, Sebastian Allaire would probably have never heard of Mark Noble until he's signed for West Ham in the summer. He's probably just never heard of him, okay? You know, Andy Carroll, when he joined Liverpool, Andy Carroll famously said he had to sort of Google who the Liverpool squad was because he just doesn't watch football. It's fair enough. It's like that at West Ham. When they step into West Ham, they know who Mark Noble is. They know who the captain is. They know who runs the changing room. And you hear stuff about when Arnautovic had his bad performance or whatever, and Noble pulled him up on it, said, you don't do this at West Ham. And then there was like a standoff between the two and Zabalek on ball. That's what you need. You need that leadership and that respect. And I'm actually worried to an extent as to what's going to happen. If it's to retire at the end of this season, I'd be sitting here screaming that we need a captain going forward, because while Zabaleta and Snodgrass and Rice all have leadership qualities about them, there's leadership, then there's control. Mark Noble has both, but it's not often you find both.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, mate. I mean, Matt Powell there, I've just put the comment on there. Mark will be a coach for the club when he retires. I said, as I said on post-match pint, I believe he will, but I also think he's got a future manager in him. I think he's just got that about him. And me and you would love that day, mate, when that happens. It won't be yet. It'll probably be in, well, maybe 10 years' time. You probably have to go lower leagues, but, well, you never know. Chelsea done it with Lampard. West Ham might do it with Noble in a few years. But, yeah, I mean, let's have a quick look at some of the comments here, because there's a lot of love for you in here tonight, Gio. There's a lot of love, mate.
I appreciate it.
Let's have a look. Ryan must be using Nicky's screen.
That's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of that in the live chat.
But I mean, just quickly, while I'm waiting for some more comments to come up, let's quickly talk about the Watford game. Was you impressed with the team on Saturday? Was you a bit surprised with some of the team selections and also the bench? I mean, Robert Snodgrass, I mean, I don't know if you know, was he injured at all, or was he just completely left out of the squad?
Unsure, but if he was left, you boys on post-match pint said it's harsh. I agree. I thought he did well in the second half against Brighton. I think Pellegrini strangled him a bit. Pellegrini needs to stop playing Snodgrass on the wing. He's not fast enough. And, you know, especially when you put a little guy like Hernandez up front like he had at Brighton, Snodgrass's quality is crossing the ball, and you had Hernandez in the box. You can't really cross it to him. Maybe a bit different with Allaire in the box, but when Snodgrass came to centre midfield for the second half against Brighton, I thought he's one of our better players. He has that nitty-gritty thing about him. And when you're trying to see out a lead in a game, I would like to see Snodgrass come onto the pitch, actually, because you know he's just going to chase people about. He's going to do the press, and he'll happily take a booking if he has to. So I was surprised to see Snodgrass. for the game on Saturday, I was impressed with the second half. We deserved to be behind at halftime. We should have been behind at halftime. Got lucky. And
do you think Antonio was a big difference when he come on?
Yeah, the game changed in that minute. Will Hughes missed that chance, and 30 seconds later, Antonio came onto the pitch. That minute for both sides changed the game completely. It's a big decision, and it's a hard decision for Pellegrini because Antonio deserves to start, but Pellegrini's going to be looking at it thinking, hang on a minute, I've taken Antonio off the bench in the last 2 games and he's changed the game. If you don't have Antonio on the bench, who have you got on the bench that can come on and change the game, that we know can change the game? There's no one else, really. Hernandez and that, they're good players, but Antonio changes it. And I think Pellegrini might keep Antonio on the bench just for that impact sub. So he comes on against a tired defence rather than a fresh one. And he's almost like he's going to be his own victim, Antonio, like the own victim of his own success. But as I always say, sometimes the right thing, which is starting Antonio, is not always the best thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Antonio, when he comes off the bench, he offers you something different, doesn't he? He's strong as an ox. I like him. He gets his head down. He runs with the ball. Usually it goes out of play and he goes with it. But look, the thing is, I mean, one player that really impressed me on Saturday was the record signing, Sebastian Haller. He looks an all-round striker, doesn't he? He looks like that striker that we've been missing for a long time. And Gio, I mean, I touch wood, fingers crossed. I hope that it really works out for him at West Ham. I hope that he can stay injury-free, because I think with the players like Lanzini, I mean, Lanzini's been unbelievable, I think, in the first few games. He's been like the old Lanzini we know. And I hope they get that contract sorted in the next couple of weeks, because he'll be a massive, it'd be like, not a signing, but to tie him down would be massive. But Sebastian Haller, I mean, is he going to be our first 20-goal a season striker since, who was the last one? Probably John Hartson, wasn't it, in all competitions?
Yeah, it was Hartson. Well, Sheringham as well. Had Teddy in the championship. But the thing is, I don't want to call him a 20-goal season striker. I think that's sort of pressure, but certainly a 20-goal contribution. So if you combine his assists and his goals, 20, I think is a fair thing. But you can see the difference between Anatovich not being a striker and Haller being a striker, in the sense that he's just in the right place. Against Watford, when Anderson looked up, Haller just made the run and Anderson passed it to him. He's passed in the net. If that was Anatovich, I think Anatovich would have been stood on the edge of 18-yarder saying, cut it back to me all the way back here and I'll smash it. Because that's not Anatovich's fault. He's a quality player, Anatovich. He just wasn't an out-and-out striker. But we've got a guy now who's got sort of the instinct of where to be and when to be there. I think he's a bargain at 45 million. I didn't think we'd get him in the summer. I thought he was too good for West Ham. And I still think he is too good for West Ham, Ryan. I think I wouldn't be surprised if come summer we're worried about him leaving and there's rumours of him going to, I don't know, Chelsea or something for 80 million or something.
That just keep the trend going, wouldn't it? With our when you got Payet and Anatovich and then Sebastian Haller. It's when I was watching him on Saturday, I mean, it's the first time I've really watched him, and he we said he's got the build of like Andy Carroll, but he's got the brain of Hernandez. Like, he's in that box all the time. He's not one of these ones that, because the thing is, it's good for him maybe having VAR, because he's a big lad. He's going to think like, right, these defenders can't touch me, so I'm going to get myself in the box, mix it up a bit, and 9 times out of 10 the decisions are going to go for him. As you said, when it comes to 20-goal season striker, it's probably, we all want that, of course we do, but I said the same when we first signed him. If he can get between 10 and 12 goals and probably 8 or 10 assists, I think that's a great season in your first in the Premier League. Yeah,
I completely agree. There's no need for all this pressure on him and stuff. And, he's got 2 goals and 2 so far. It's a fantastic start. But listen, if he doesn't get 20 goals this season, it's not because of him. It's because he's not had the right service. Because if he gets the right service, he will score 20 goals a season. Yeah. I'm convinced of that. So it's down to the players to not put. They don't even have to put on a plate for him. They just have to give him a half decent opportunity. But what I like about him is he doesn't care how he shoots. You see him with that scorpion kick thing. All his instinct was, I'm just going to get my foot to this and hope it goes in. But there was no show pony, let me just touch it down and all this. Sometimes players can think too much almost, or they try and take an extra touch. He just wants to get his shot off, and it's something we lack. It's something that we've seen, especially against Man City at home. Gone to the final third, and all we would do is pass it about a bit, and you just thought, just have a dig. Someone just have a dig. It might go out for a corner. It might be an easy save for Ederson. It doesn't matter. Just someone have a shot. This guy will shoot, and that's what I like about him. He won the most aerial duels in the Bundesliga last year, so he's solid in the air. If you can get him in, get that ball into the box and give him half decent service, we'll get goals. And if he doesn't score, he's providing them.
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree, mate. It's as I just want to quickly talk about Ogbonna as well and Diop. They come under a lot of criticism on Saturday. I thought it was a little bit harsh. I do understand sometimes Ogbonna's not everyone's favourites, but I thought I see on social media after he was getting rinsed by some people, and I didn't think he had that bad of a game. Diop, on the other hand. He done some game-saving tackles, but there was times where he was out of position a lot as well. So I think that the criticism Ogbonna has got should have been sort of shared with Diop as well.
Yeah, I thought they both played okay. The only player I wasn't impressed with on Saturday was Fredericks. I'm not convinced by Fredericks at all, but I thought Ogbonna was fine. He was maybe at fault for their first goal, but I'm going to try. I've knocked Ogbonna quite a lot. I'm Masuaku. I'm Fredericks. Everyone except Balbuena and Diop, basically. But I'm going to try and stay away from that this season because I think they just have too much to do as a defence. Yeah. The way we play football, they've just... If you go compare them to, say, Burnley, I reckon our defence has almost twice as much to do during a 90-minute game as to what Burnley do. It's just the way we set up. If we want to see this attack in football, it's almost something we're just going to have to put up with. And it's easier to make... If you've got 30 defensive actions to do in a game, it's easier to make a mistake than you do if you've only got 15 defensive actions to do, if that makes sense. It's a lot of averages almost. And I think we've just got a lot of defending to do at West Ham. And it's not going to get... I know we've got Newport tomorrow night, Ryan, but it's not going to get any easier on Saturday. I am dreading Saturday. Yeah,
because, Saturday's one of them games. I watched Norwich against Chelsea on Saturday, and they play so open, didn't they? They play attacking. And my fear is that a lot of people now are going to be thinking, we'll get 3 points against Norwich, newly promoted team. But as it showed over the last few seasons, we don't really do that well against newly promoted teams. And Norwich are going to come to that London stadium. It's a big pitch, and they're going to want to play football. So it's about us playing football as well, getting it down, attacking them, and our defence. That Pukki. His movement. I'll be surprised if he's still at Norwich if he doesn't get a move in January. I think a big team might come in for him because he's 28. He scores goals for fun. He's proved it. He's got 5 in his first 3 games in the Premier League. We've had strikers that ain't scored 5 in like 5 seasons. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a tough game. And but as you said before that, mate, we've got Newport County tomorrow night. Let's have a little talk about that. Interesting. Hernandez is not going to be in the squad. Apparently he missed out on Saturday with a bug, and now it's a thigh injury. Do you think that maybe he could be on his way out of the club with the European transfer window still open?
They've only got a few more days. They're 5 days or something, I think, assuming it's the end of August. No, it would leave us very short up front, wouldn't it? Just Ayeti, who's never had a kick in England, and Alier. To be on Alier's strength, I think he's only ever had like one proper injury in his whole career so far. So he is really fit, Alier. Without jinxing it too much, welcome to West Ham. But I don't know, because I'm in two minds. You see, I don't think we need that many strikers. You look at Spurs last season, they had Kane and Llorente, and that was it. And they had a Champions League campaign. Yeah. But it worked because they knew that Lucas and Son could go there if they needed it to. And I know you've talked before about Yarmolenko stepping in up front if need be, with Antonio as well. So I do think maybe we could get away with just Ayeti and Alier. It would depend on the money, I think. I think if the price was there, but the only thing is it will put a lot of bullets in the chambers of guns for people that don't like the board. To say, hang on a minute, the window's shut, we can't buy anyone, you're selling players. And I think it would partly be justified, to be honest, because they did it with Jose Font, remember? The January window's shut, and then they sold Font a week later. We couldn't get anyone in. So I think it would be risky, but it's understandable because he's on such a big wage and he's almost like surplus requirements. And I didn't know he was missing tomorrow night, but when you said that, I wasn't disappointed, and that's quite bad.
Yeah. No, I was the same. When I see it, I thought, well, I sort of expected it, if that makes sense. I mean, I know it sounds, I like Hernandez, but I'd like to see a Yeti. Is it a Yeti? Is that how you say it? We had,
I don't know.
A Yeti. I'm going to go for a Yeti. I'm looking forward to seeing him get a start, to see what he can do. He obviously come over with sort of mixed reviews, but he's got a good goal scoring record. So it'd be good to see him start. I mean, what is your sort of predicted lineup for tomorrow?
A predicted one's different to what I'd like. I think he's going to rotate quite a bit, actually. I think we'll see Roberto in goal, Zabaleta, probably a captain, right back, Creswell. Yeah, Balbuena, Creswell in defence. I think he might keep Diop in because he did that last year. He kept Diop and Rice in quite a lot. I think it's just because they're young. He thought you guys will cope, which they should. I mean, Jack might bring in Sanchez.
Yeah, Jack Wilshere should be back for tomorrow night. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, would there be anyone from Saturday, sort of like maybe, would you give Sebastian Haller another 45? Let him start the game?
No, but I'd have him on the bench just in case we needed him. He'd be my big red panic button if we're not winning. get the guy, get him on and try and win it. But I would like to see a Yeti. I don't want to see too much changes though, Ryan, because we've got to take the cup seriously. Tomorrow night's more important than the Norwich game for me. It's the biggest game of the season so far, and it will be until we play another cup game, because if it's 16th, 14th, 10th, 8th, what does it matter? It matters to David Sullivan because you get more money. But as a football fan, does it bother us of how much money West Ham get in revenue at the end of the season? Of course, we want to see players bought and stuff. No, but we want to see a cup run. We want to see us go for it. And you know something. I don't know if you agree with me, Ryan, but I think Pellegrini's under pressure tomorrow night. We cannot have a repeat of Wimbledon. He gets off. He didn't really get up in the last season. He got a lot of criticism. I still think the team he put out should have won. And you know, he could rotate the whole 11 tomorrow night, and the team he put out should still win.
Yeah,
he's under pressure.
Yeah, Newport County. I think I looked it up. They're 5th in League Two. You know, a Premier League, any starting 11 tomorrow night should be good enough to go to Newport and get the result. But we know this is West Ham. We've grown up seeing this. We see it last season against AFC Wimbledon. We thought we was going to sort of turn up, win, and then they was going to announce Mark Arnautovic signed a new deal, and everyone was going to be happy for the rest of the weekend. But it didn't work out like that. You can't take these games for granted, and I agree with you. Pellegrini will be under a bit of pressure if he loses tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, you're a Slav fan, so I'm going to put this out there. Slaven Bilic never lost to a lower league team in the cup. Leicester put us out. They won the league that year. And then there's the 2 Manchester clubs. I think Man U did it twice, or Man City did it twice. Never lost to a lower league club. He always won the games against lower league clubs. You've got to. That's what you've got to be doing. I'm going to worry you here because I had a look at this. We did a preview last night, so I had to look up a bit about Newport. In their last 18 home games, this goes back to last season, the last 18 home games, they've had 15 clean sheets. They do not concede. These boys do not concede. And that worries me a little bit because...
And the thing is as well, mate, these sort of teams, these are their cup finals. And that's no disrespect. You know, when you get a Premier League team, it don't matter what Premier League team, when they come down, you're a League Two team. You want to prove yourself against these big boys. And they are going to put in tackles. And you sort of find that these Premier League players now don't like that. They don't like mixing it up. They go there with their sort of a bit arrogant attitude. Oh, we turn up, we win, we go home. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a tough game tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing us go up against Newport County. But as you said at the beginning, mate, this club is, despite what people say, we are a massive club and we need a trophy. It's been 40 years. We've come up to 40 years since we last won a major trophy, the FA Cup. And I haven't seen it in my lifetime. In my lifetime, I've seen, 2 playoff finals, an Intertoto Cup, and a Betway Cup. That's how much I'm desperate. I'm including them. And this club, the League Cup, we should be going for it because the FA Cup is a bit more difficult because the bigger teams sort of take that a little bit more serious. But Man City have dominated the League Cup for the last 2 seasons now. So it's about time that a team like West Ham, and not only us, I mean, other teams should be respecting it a bit more, a bit like Everton, even Spurs. They should be taking it because they haven't won a trophy for a long time. So it's going to be an interesting, but let's just get through tomorrow night. And hopefully the draw's kind to us for the rest of the cup. And hopefully, you never know, mate, we could have a day out of Wembley in February, cold February.
Well, it's got to be. I was more confident for the game against Watford than I am for tomorrow night. I don't know why that is. I just am. Everything about this Newport team smelled like an upset. They beat Leicester City last season. Drew in Middlesbrough, beat them in the replay. They got put out by Man City, but it was 4-1. They still scored, and they gave Man City a right good game. It just worries me, this one. So we should win. If we turn up with the right attitude, we will win. It's as simple as that. But do I trust the players to turn up with the right attitude? No. We didn't turn up with it in the first half against Watford. We didn't turn up with it in the first half against Brighton. So going by what I've seen so far this season, why is tomorrow night going to be any different? Pellegrini's got to get his team right. And, Mark Noble's not playing, which I would understand because he's just come back from like a month out, essentially. Someone better bloody step into his shoes with that armband on and really get that team going, or we're in trouble.
100%, mate. I totally agree. So what's your sort of what's your predictions for tomorrow night, mate? Give us a score.
2-1 us. I'll go for 2-1. I think it'll be tough though.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. But I fancy. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I think they'll score. It wouldn't surprise me if they score first. But I think West Ham will. I think the fitness will sort of come into it a bit, and if we get 1, I think we'll go on to get 3. I just think it'll be that sort of game. But it will be a difficult game, mate. No doubt about that.
What team do you want to see put out? Do you want to see like the first 11, a handful of changes, or do you want to see a complete rotation?
I'd like to see him mix it up a bit. I'm not going to say. Some people are saying chuck a lot of youth in there. I don't think that's right. I'd like to see someone like maybe Felipe Anderson start the game. He's obviously just come back. Yarmolenko as well, just to get their fitness up a bit. Jack Wilshere, the back 4, I'd play Balbuena, and I'd play Diop as well. I'd start Diop. As you said, probably Zabaleta will go right back, Creswell left back. And yeah, probably a Yeti up front. Probably Fornells as well, maybe.
Do you want to see Roberto?
Not really, if I'm honest. I'd rather Fabianski play, but I haven't been impressed with him. Impressed with him. Maybe, well, I wouldn't even David Martin. I mean, would you trust him?
He's a West Ham fan, so you'd have to hope that, ability-wise, he might be lesser of Roberto. I don't know, but you have to hope that he's got that little bit extra in him that sort of G's him up for the game and he takes his chance. Because you don't find that his dad's going to clip him out the ear if he doesn't have a good game for us.
You know what? I was just about to say this, but I think this is not that one. Where's he gone? This one here. I mean, I was going to say this. Out of respect, we should start some of the big players. Out of respect for Newport, I think that's correct. We can't go there and just chuck loads of youth out like we did against Nottingham Forest under Sam Allardyce, because look what that happened. Look what happened then. We what was it, 5-0 they beat us that day, and it ruined some of them youngsters ever having a career at West Ham. That's all most of them are remembered for. So
yeah,
I think out of respect, we do need to and look. Harold Ingo. Is that how you say it? Harold Ingo? Yeah?
Yeah.
That. He's definitely a club legend. Claret and blue in his veins. Been with us all the way, ups and downs. His passion for the club, his class. We said that at the beginning of the show, mate.
I think he's talking about you. Talking about you.
I hope so, mate. Do you know what? I've got it's all in the background. I've got Sky Sports News on, right? And all day I've just had the Ashes. I mean, you're probably not interested in it, but us English, what a day for English cricket. You know, Ben Stokes, he's got to get sports personality of the year, 100%.
I had it for the your World Cup final. I was in Glasgow for the World Cup final because I was at a concert on the Saturday with Bez, and we had the Sunday together before he went back to Southampton. I came back up to Aberdeen, so we went to a sports bar, and we had the Wimbledon final on, we had the cricket final on, and there was Liverpool, I think, we're playing, and F1 was on or something. So yeah, there's quite a few English in there for the cricket World Cup final. So I was sort of getting it forced upon me in Scotland, of all places. There's a few people not supporting England. It was quite an even thing, but I don't understand it, to be honest. I don't understand cricket. I don't know how it works.
I think that's why Declan Rice decided to join England, because he knew our cricket team was going to start winning the World Cups and that. And come on, England. Sorry, G. I know you don't want to hear it, mate, but. Right, what's the time, mate? I've got you for another 10 minutes because I know you got to shoot off soon, so have I. So let's have a little preview of Norwich. Tough game.
I don't fancy it, Ryan. I don't fancy it. I was impressed with them in the Championship, and the funny thing is, what made me more worried about teams like Norwich coming up, or just Norwich more, is everybody's dismissed them a bit. And Karen Brady was one of them. In the summer, she did a column saying about, oh, if you come up here, you've got to spend a load of money. I just thought, you don't get it. Norwich have come up by spending no money because the director of football is just that good. He got Pookie for free. He's gone out there and got all these players for cheap and just built a team with, and then you got Karen, oh, you need to spend the money. Actually, you've just shown that you know nothing about Norwich City. So just say nothing. It's better to say nothing and embarrass yourself. So things like that, I just thought, oh no, people have got this wrong, because they've got, as a pairing, there's some better left backs in the league and some better right backs in the league. But as a pairing, Lewis and Aarons are one of the best in the Premier League. I'm convinced Norwich have one of the best pairings of fullbacks in the Premier League. If they never came up this year, they would have both been in the Premier League this year, because someone would have went out and signed them. And I would like to think West Ham would have been in the running for at least one of them. But those two players have got big, big futures ahead of them. Big part of Norwich, the way they play, to get up the pitch really high. And if our wide players do not track back on Saturday, they're going to take us apart down the sides, Ryan.
A bit like Wolves last season when they come to London Stadium. They done exactly the same and they nicked the game 1-0 right at the end. But I totally agree. I mean, I see a lot of Norwich last year and they absolutely smashed the Championship. And one thing they've got as well, they've got a goal scorer. And he's proved it this season. You know, he scored against Chelsea, got his hat-trick against Newcastle, and then obviously he scored at Anfield on the opening day. I know they lost, but he could have had 2 or 3 that night. And he makes them sort of runs that Ogbonna and Diop, I don't think, can deal with. So you're right. The fullbacks have to start covering for Diop and Ogbonna, sorry. But that also midfield as well. They need to track. They need to break up play. It's going to be difficult. I mean, if we win on Saturday, if we get the 3 points, we go into the international break with 7 points out of 12. And you look at the start we had, Man City away, Man City at home, Brighton away. Out of that game, I sort of expected a point. You know, I didn't expect anything against Man City. Brighton away is a good point because we've not beaten them there in the Premier League. And Watford on Saturday, I was confident with Watford. So if we can go into this international break 7 points out of 12, I think going on last season when we didn't have any points, we lost 4 out of 4. It's a massive improvement and it's something to build on, because come the end of the weekend, we could be finding ourselves around that top 6.
Yeah, it's massive for morale, for momentum. So when they come back off the international break, the players are buzzing. You almost don't want an international break as a player. Yeah. If you've won your last 2 and joined the one before that, you don't want an international break. You want to keep going. And it's maybe a slight benefit to having not many internationals in our squad, because not many of our players will be going away with the country. Declan will be going away with England. Lanzini's in the Argentina squad. Felipe might get in the Brazil one. I don't know if it's announced yet. Fabianski with Poland. Hopefully South America don't have, they do, because Argentina. So Balbuena's off on the other side of the world as well. But there's quite a core of our players. They're not in their international teams. Even Alaire's not in the French squad. So he'll still be with Pellegrini, that back of our screen. And that gives us a massive advantage to other clubs who have their squad disappear for 10 days and they don't see them. So it allows us to prepare. It keeps the feel-good factor going. And even as fans, you're buzzing for the next game. You just can't wait for it to come round again, especially me, because I go from watching West Ham get beat to watching Scotland get beat. You're okay. You get to go watch.
I get to watch. Yeah,
borderline world-class players play for England, whereas I get to watch Scott McTominay is one of our best players, put it like that. The Man United midfielder's getting ripped apart at the minute. He's one of our best players. But it's just everything's positive if we win on Saturday. I don't think we will, Ryan. I'm calling it now. I know it's only Monday. I don't think we're going to win on Saturday. So if we do, I'll be even happier because when we got beat by Man City, I didn't really get too angry. Some people said, why are you not annoyed or that? I said, because I expected it. And when you expect something, it's hard to get worked up. So on Saturday, I'm expecting, I think it might be a draw, and I think it'll be a high scoring draw, 2-2, 3-3 even. I know you guys joked about 5-4 on post-match pie. I would not be surprised. I think it's more likely to be 5-4 than 1-0, put it like that. They're going to score on Saturday. We're not keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it will be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go for us to win. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win. I just think that the players, Pellegrini needs to get the play, and Mark Noble as well, which I imagine he will do. He'll say, look, we can get into this international break 7 points out of 12, and then we can build on that when we come back. I'm just hoping that no players come back, any injuries. As you said, we haven't got that many internationals. I mean, it won't be long probably before Sebastian Haller is called up to the France squad. And then he's there to probably get turned again, and we know how that plays out. But Lanzini, it's a big. I'm mixed with Lanzini because I'm happy that he's back in the Argentina squad, but he obviously got injured last time he was there. So it's one of them, innit? It's going to be a tight game, and as I said, Norwich are going to be buzzing coming to London Stadium. Big pitch, they can play football. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-2 win, mate. That's my prediction for the weekend.
I hope you're right. I'll say 2-2. It's my favourite scoreline. I'll say 2-2. I think their wide players are just too good for us, Ryan. We struggle down the sides. We struggle. Our fullbacks are weak. Our forward wide players don't always get back. It's gonna. The only one thing we've got. I say one thing. We've got more than one thing. Our biggest advantage. Their centre backs are Rope. Godfrey is okay. Grant Hanley's crap. Like, I've seen enough of Grant Hanley. He's pish. He's Scottish. I'm allowed to say pish. He really is bad. And if Ali can just stand next to Hanley for the whole 90 minutes, Hanley will give him a chance. Hanley will literally hand him an opportunity to score. And that's
their goalkeeper's a bit suspect as well, isn't it? Tim Krul.
Yeah, I thought he retired about 5 years ago.
When I see him on in the starting lineup, I thought it was someone else. I thought he retired about 4 or 5 seasons ago, mate. If I'm honest, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat with the scores. Duvet Dancer, what a great name that is. 4-3, hopefully to us. Abba Sentry. I tell you what, these names get better and better, don't they? 3-1 West Ham. Eagle USA, 5-0 West Ham. I can't. But this one, yeah, we've spoke about it. Roger Cook, both teams can't defend for toffee. All points to a thriller will probably be a 0-0. That sums that up, doesn't it? It probably will be. We're sitting there and it will probably be a 0-0.
It won't be a 0-0, will it? I've got money on us. I've got money on us and Arsenal not having a 0-0 all season, 50-1.
Matt Powell's just said, Ryan, can you have a West Ham picture behind you as Gio's got West Ham picture on his wallpaper?
You're on my picture.
That's the
mishmash.
Yeah, I remember that. That was what was that, about 3 years ago, wasn't it? I think it's me, Nicky and Graham in it.
Yeah, Scott's not there for some reason.
He didn't make the cut. But Matt, I will be getting some decorations behind me and all. I do this in my front room, so I will start putting some posters up and that, because this is going to be a permanent fixture now. So, yeah, thank you anyway.
Your logo. Let me just move my webcam up a little bit. There's your West Ham Fan TV logo up on the turret.
What, from the old one?
No, it's your current one. It's your current. Yeah, it's that current logo that's above my head at the minute. Yeah, that's on the thing.
It's a good point. Gary Page, don't knock the king. As you see, I've got Elvis. You can just see his shoes, but that is the king. I'm a massive Elvis fan. So, yeah.
It's important to have your musical idol.
I've actually got, what you can't see is that's Elvis's body, but it's Mark Noble's head.
Well, to be fair, I see Mark Noble dancing in midfield sometimes. Just goes unappreciated, unnoticed even. Speaking
of dancing, did you see the Ray Parlour video the other day of him after a few drinks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a bit upset I wasn't there, to be honest.
Well, I tweeted out saying I'd love to go on the piss with Ray Parlour. What a night out that would be.
Spinning the tray on his head. I've never, do you know something? I like a drink and a dance, but I've never once thought, do you know what would be a good dance move? Spinning a tray on my head. I mean, I wonder what makes him think that that's a thing that's going to get the party going, but
I don't even know what was going on, mate. It got even worse. I mean, going into boxing, did you see the Ricky Hatton video?
I heard about it, but I didn't see it. No, what was he like?
He was just drunk and he fell over, but the newspapers were making so much out of it. So he's on holiday, he's having a few drinks, leave him alone. You know what I mean? He's been retired for the last 10 years. But just quickly, Gio, before we go, mate. Speaking of the Norwich game, the boats.
Yeah, they're open on Saturday as always, 12 till 7. If you fancy joining us for a beer or 2 or 3. I'm not sure if there's any trays to spin on your head. I think there might be trays to spin on your head. Depends.
Gonzo will find some. Gonzo will find some somewhere.
Yeah, if you want a tray, we'll get you a tray. Barbecue, music, come down. It'll be good. Just find Hammers Chat on Twitter or go to hammerschat.com. There's a thread there. Get your tickets. Ryan's coming down before the game. I'll be there for a little drinking tray, dancing. Yeah,
no, it's always good, and always as just Hammers Chat. You know, you boys do a great job over there. You know, I always watch your videos. I always like seeing, like, because we obviously do post match pint and things like that. So I always go and watch other people to see if they sort of say similar things. And 9 times out of 10, mate, me and you usually agree on most of the stuff. So that's
it must be quite boring tuning in tonight when we're just agreeing with one another all the time. Yeah, he's right.
This is a Mark Noble loving. Maybe I should have got someone in here who don't like Mark Noble, but they're sort of hard to find. But I'm sure there's some out there. But
just wait until he's had a back. Listen, if we get beat by Norwich and Mark Noble's had a 6 out of 10, you'll find people that don't like Mark Noble. You won't have to go far.
Yeah, I know. It does. It frustrates me. There's been plenty of times where I remember at the bowl, just before we go, I remember at the bowling ground when I used to sit there and I used to have some bloke behind me used to slate Mark Noble week in, week out. And he turns up for his testimonial. And I went to him, well, if you hate him that much, mate, why are you here? He went, he's a West Ham boy, isn't he? I went, so why are you slating him every week, mate? I nearly had so many run-ins with him, mate, over Mark Noble.
There's a guy when I go for games. There's a guy that doesn't like Mark Noble, and I text you what he says every game. Listen, we could be 3-0 up, and he will just wait, and then as soon as there's a sideways pass, he just shouts out, "Fucking hell, Noble! Fucking sideways!" And you're like, then he'll give it to Declan Rice.
You know what, Theo? I just had to turn around then. I thought EastEnders was on me telly.
That's the only little bit of comedy I can do. That guy, because I've heard it so bloody much, it's almost ingrained in my head.
That was a good impression, mate. I'm not going to do a Scottish impression. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're going to have to now. Right? Just pretend you're Snodgrass. But the thing is, he gives it to Declan Rice, who passes to a centre back, and the guy's like mute. And you're like, oh, right, okay. So Noble goes sideways, it's an issue, but anyone else goes backwards, it's fine. It's just, I don't know. Listen, I know I've got Noble tinted specs. Listen, he can have a bad game, and I'll sit here and go, he was all right. I'm aware of that. But this guy, jeepers, he hates Noble. I think Noble must have shagged his missus or something. He was duvet dancing with Noble's missus to give kudos to that guy's hair.
He's probably Mark Noble's jealous cousin that never made it.
Yeah, it must have been something, because he hates Mark Noble, that's for sure.
But Gio, look, I know you got to go, mate, and so have I. But listen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I loved it, mate. I missed the last time you was on the live show, so I'm glad I've got you on. Thank you to everyone. I know I haven't got many questions up, but this is new to me. So on Thursday's show, I'll be right on the questions. So join us again. As always, keep subscribing to our channel. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat as well. If you're at the game early or after, go down the boats, have a spin a tray on your head with Gonzo and CGO. But yeah, look, we'll leave that there. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.